Hello everybody and welcome to the Mark Goldbridge live stream. Anthony Martial will be staying at Manchester United. This is a lot of reports coming out about this morning, which I think is great news. Obviously, we are about 8 days away, maybe a little bit more, from the closure of the La Liga transfer window. Italians closed, Germans closed, English is closed. So the only place that Anthony Martial could go is Spain, which is somewhere he's actually not been linked that strongly to. So I think Martial was always going to be staying this season. Apparently, there's been a change of circumstances where Anthony Martial now wants to stay and fight for his place. I think those circumstances may well be that nobody else wants him, and he has to stay. But also, what might be interesting as well is that he looks at the situation at Manchester United and realises, like a lot of people do at the moment, that maybe Jose Mourinho won't be Manchester United for a much longer, and then a new manager who actually appreciates flair would probably get the best out of Martial. So it might be a case of just sitting tight. He's certainly not in the same situation as someone like Luke Shaw, who I'm hopeful that Luke Shaw will sign a new contract. But remember, Luke Shaw said in the summer, I'm not going to sign a new contract till I feel I deserve it. Nobody's stupid, Luke. Stop treating Manchester United fans like they're stupid. You're a free agent next summer. What's actually happening is you're either going to get picked, and if you don't get picked, you're going to go for free in the summer. Don't treat us like fools. But Anthony Martial, he's not in that situation. He has got a year left on his contract, but we've got the option of adding a further year on it. So Martial can't go for free next summer, which is a positive. Also, just want to ask, because it's my channel, off to in the southeast of England at the moment. So I'm off to the Battle of Hastings site today, which is in Hastings. What's your favourite battle? Is it, mine's Battle of Hastings, possibly I liked Helm's Deep or Battle of Endor, but what's your favourite battle? Get in the live comments or the comments below and let me know about that. Just a little bit of history today. But in relation to Anthony Martial, obviously still my favourite Manchester United player. Massively underused and underappreciated by Jose Mourinho, and that the fact that he's going to stay is a good thing, because I don't see him getting much game time. I've got to be honest like that. I don't see Jonathan Borsa's Battle of the Sexes. I don't see it happening for Martial. I mean, Mourinho did say before the game against Brighton that the only reason Martial was playing was because Sanchez was injured and he needed to keep Rashford on the bench because he wanted him to put him up front when good battle of the Somme. I mean, none of these battles are good. Let's be honest. People died, whether it's orcs, Ewoks, or people. People died in these battles, so they're not good, but they've happened, and historically we can look back on them and have our thoughts about them. The Battle of Hastings was quite a significant battle for old Harold, William Conqueror. Anyway, but back to the football. So I think that in Mourinho's mind, obviously Sanchez is ahead of Martial, and I believe that Rashford's still ahead of Martial as well. So we might not see a lot of Anthony Martial this season, but we at least he will be part of the Manchester United squad, and that for me is far better than him leaving the club, which is wouldn't see. People talk about buyback clauses, loan deals. They were never going to happen. So we've got to see what's going to happen with that. And Ferguson versus Wenger was a very good battle, actually. I enjoyed that. Actually, I just want to bring that in as well. What a great comment this was. I saw a tweet from Neil Custis from The Sun. Now, that's going to be divisive straight away. Some people will be thinking, some people will be like, oh, he's all right. I actually don't mind him. I think some of his opinions on Manchester United and his news on Manchester United can be quite reliable. And I suspect that last week what he said about Pogba, although he got a lot of stick, was probably true. But he's come out this morning and said that an FA Cup, a League Cup, a Europa League and an FA Cup final in the last 3 years, most clubs would take that. And basically the United Stand Twitter account replied and said, well, I think out of the top 6, only Arsenal would take that. Neither Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool or Man City, even if you gave them those trophies, would swap to be in our situation right now because of the style of football. So I wanted to know what you lot thought about that, because to be honest with you, I'm brought up on the mentality of Sir Alex Ferguson and a lot of the ex-players. I think I've heard Neville say it. I've certainly heard Roy Keane say it. They said, 20 times says Tottenham would swap to be in our situation. Potentially they would, but I'm about to absolutely bury that point if you don't butt in. And that is to say that Manchester United season is always, and Sir Alex Ferguson used to say this, always based on challenging for the title and, well, really winning the title. Even challenging the title wasn't good enough. So now we've become a club where FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Europa League is meant to be something that we settle for. This is my issue. This is the lowering of expectations that has been fed through the club, that even journalists that are close to the club are saying, well, it's not been a bad situation for Manchester United. It is a bad situation. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, we've had 5 seasons and we have not even got close to challenging for a title. That is not good enough. And the day we start saying, well, other clubs would want our situation, I don't give a damn what other clubs want. It's about what Manchester United is. Manchester United should be challenging for titles. And those fans who are unhappy should not be labelled as ungrateful, greedy, arrogant, or whatever else anybody else wants to call us, because Manchester United are the biggest club in England. Manchester United have got massive resources. Manchester United, even now, have got a fantastic squad that most people would want, but what's happening on the pitch is not good enough. And we should never, ever, ever, ever start saying, well, most clubs would want to be in our situation. Actually, we've won a few trophies in the last few years. Europa League was nice to win because we'd never won it. Carabao Cup, I'd rather have a cup of tea. And the FA Cup was nice to win, but actually it was Van Gaal who won it. And I was on the verge of thinking I'd rather lose this if it means getting rid of him. I mean, we won it and we still got rid of him, which was great. So I don't actually think the cup achievements of Manchester United over the last few years are that great. And I'm not being greedy or ungrateful. The Europa League was good, but we've got to be challenging for titles. Or the Champions League. They're the 2 trophies that Manchester United should be judged on. And I don't think that, as I said this morning on my Twitter account, the only person coming out defending Jose Mourinho at the moment is Sam Allardyce. And that is just like trying to win a beauty contest with Theresa May, as I said. When you've got people like that coming out and defending you, then you're in a bit of bother. If you've got someone like Ancelotti coming out and defending you, or Thierry Henry, or someone like that, someone with some real credibility, then maybe you're going to be okay. But there's nobody coming out defending the style of football at Manchester United at the moment, and that is the thing that every other club will beat us with. And I also hear a lot of this: oh well, Spurs is a massive game. Spurs is a massive game. It's defining game of the season against Spurs on Monday. It's not. It really isn't. This is the sensational claptrap that we fall into the trap every year. And I don't think many Manchester United fans are going to fall into this trap anymore. That I think we'll beat Spurs on Monday. And I think we'll put in a good performance. Because can you name me a performance in the last couple of years at Old Trafford where we haven't put in a performance against the big teams? Barring Man City, where we've blown it twice. But certainly against Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, over the last 2 years, we've raised it. And Man City are way ahead of everybody else. So, I mean, I don't even know if we're capable of beating Man City, but we will raise it. And the big players will turn up, the Lukakus, the Pogbas. My concern, and actually the problem with Manchester United, is Watford, Burnley, that we've got coming after that, West Ham, United, Brighton at the weekend, Newcastle and Huddersfield last year, West Brom at home last year. These are the games that Manchester United fail in. So I don't see Spurs as a defining game at all. I see Spurs as I think if we lose it, we're in big trouble. But if we win it, I won't go, yeah, we're back. We're going for top 4 again. We could even win the title. I think whatever happens against Spurs, unless we lose, then we're in real trouble. But if we beat Spurs, I'll be like, I'm more worried about Burnley, because that's where it goes wrong for United. So I'm not falling into that trap of Spurs. It's a big game. Spurs is always going to be a big game because they're a top 4 club. But and as Stavros says, we might lose it. We could lose it because Spurs might be a better team than us. But I certainly don't expect a bad performance from United. At Old Trafford is one thing anyway. Even Paul Pogba said that it's different at Old Trafford as to what it is away. And I think we will perform well. But I think even if we got beat by Spurs, they ain't going to sack Mourinho. And I certainly would never want United to be losing games. I mean, what will be will be. But the positives are, as I've always said, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and drop a like, because I am right about this. I did say all along, never in a million years would Manchester United sell Paul Pogba. Martial, I wasn't so sure, and I commend the club for keeping Martial. I think they've done well there, but we were never going to sell Paul Pogba. So that is positives, because we can't sign anybody now. So at least we are keeping Martial and Pogba, and maybe, just maybe, we might get a miracle and Mourinho might cop on and realise what the club's all about. But if he goes, we're still going to have those 2 great talents at the club. Although I must say, like I said yesterday, Paul Pogba coming into the Carrington car park this morning on his phone smiling, 24 hours after his agent slammed Paul Scholes. Where's the apology? Where's the condemnation? not good enough from Pogba. I'm not happy with him about that. Anyway, thanks everyone. Please do drop a like, give us your comments, and tell me your favourite battle.